the guys back in the 60s and 70s, I mean, they're smoking cigarettes on the line, before GPs, and, you see these old pics and stuff. It was a different time. And now what you have to do, you have to train and you have to be a professional athlete. That's how you succeed at this sport.
Flawless. McGrath is not close enough to make a move on the final turn. It is Jeff Emig.
I met a gypsy.
I can't finish this particular podcast though without asking you about Manjimup 1992.
Oh yeah, Motocross of Nations, 92.
Iconic photo, an iconic photo of you hitting that wall berm, standing up on a 125, pretty much dragging your bars. For the Americans that don't know, how fucking good is that track?
It was really difficult because the bottom is sandy, and then the hillsides are like hard packed clay with granite, super gnarly square edge bumps. It was really difficult. And that picture that you're referring to, that was shot Saturday during one of the qualifying practices. And the great story about that, which I didn't know until 10 years ago, but dear friend Scott Brunsman, who was with Monza forever.
Yeah.
So
dude, he's at Monza again now.
Yeah, right.
Yeah.
So the story is him and his buddy Jerry, I think was the guy's name. They went to the race. They had a whole plan set up. They didn't have any. You might have heard the story, but so they have.
Yeah.
I'm
so pumped you told it.
They go to the race. They set up this story that they're media people. And they had one of the girlfriends is at home waiting by the phone. Keep in mind, this is 1992. You actually called somewhere. They had made up like fake business cards, and they go to the event, go to like the press credentials, and like, oh yeah, we're with such and such publication. We're here to cover the race. And they're like, oh, we don't see you guys on the list. Oh, are you sure? Like, you want to? So for whatever reason, they took the business card and called the home offices. Hey, we need to verify that these two guys are working for. Oh yes, hello, how are you doing? Yes, oh yeah, we've sent them on a do a story on this race. Okay, I guess you guys are good. Slap like VIP wristbands on them all. Terry was the guy's name. He had one 35 millimeter camera with like the standard lens, like just a small lens. So they couldn't, without the long lens, you got to get really close to the action. Well, they were literally, like, he was telling me that Terry was laying on the track and Scott had his feet, and he got some picture of JMB, Jean-Michel Bale. Like, he'd take the picture, and then Scotty would yank him off the track by his feet, and then they went to, after the everything was over on Saturday, they went to some place where they developed the photos, put them into film, and that next day, I remember autographing one of those pictures. And it's this whole story is they got like full press VIP treatment, and yet they bullshitted their way through the entire thing. And that photo came out of that whole weekend of complete bullshit as they pulled it off.
And it's one of the most iconic photos.
But they missed it. It was a little grainy. It was a little grainy, right? It was a little underexposed, I think, or whatever. And but it was what it was. Yeah.
Yeah.
People ask me about that all the time.
Yeah, man. And Scott. So then to go on to like your partnership with Shift. Scotty's a really good mate of mine. He's actually I think he's one of the best people in motorcycles, period. But cool that you do your thing with Shift and Fox, and then he was obviously a part of that through Monza for so long. Like it's crazy that they took that photo, and then not only that, like the career that he went on to have that you were involved with for so long too, So
it's probably close to 8 or 10 years ago, we were doing Shift and Fox sales meetings down in Australia. We were going to tell this story, and Scotty eventually wrote about it in one of the magazines. So he had reconnected with his buddy Terry that took the actual photo. He had the slide. I don't know. This guy had a pretty loose program. I think he's passed on since then. R.I.P. Terry. But he actually still had the slide. And so we were doing a little stage show, a little dog and pony show, and talking about it, this whole thing I just explained. Somewhere between his house and actually getting there, Terry lost the slide. So it's gone forever. It's gone forever. Terry and the slide are both gone.
Fuck, that's so hectic. What?
And Scotty's like, hey, this guy's pretty loose. He's like, so when we're on stage, there were 2 mics. He's all, don't give Terry the mic. Hold the mic. Don't give it to him.
That's so good.
And they had this crazy weekend where they just lived the life, like super fan the whole thing, and just faked their way into it. It was so amazing.
I love that. What do you remember about that weekend?
That in the last practice on Sunday morning, I bruised my thumb, and I came in, and we were working out of some like box truck thing. Steve Butler wasn't at that event with me. Brian Lunas was working on my bike that weekend. I was factory Yamaha, and I come in and I'm inside the deal, and I go, oh, Brian, I think I broke my thumb or something. And he like slaps me in the face, and he's like, shut the fuck up. Don't say a word about this to anyone. Get on that bike and ride that bike. I don't want to hear another word about your thumb today. And I was 21. I was like, he just slapped me. Okay. And I remember they paraded us around the track in these little utes with like a little roll cage thing in the bed of it, and I was having to hold on to it, and I couldn't hold on. And the whole time I'm going, oh my God, it's my first Motocross of Nations. I'm representing the country. You know, I've got this epic battle with Everts and some of these guys that I have to do today. Gate drop, never thought about it. Everts and I have this epic battle. I end up winning the 125 class. Team USA wins, and never thought about the thumb again.
Dude, that's so sick.
I mean, my face probably hurt more than my thumb.
Yeah, dude, the roost there is so gnarly, eh?
Yeah, and when you've got 500s that are just blasting you, yeah, that big long straight. No, yeah, it was quite the experience. And when you're a part of that, you know, you're kind of bringing back sort of the national pride comment earlier, and when you're standing on the top of the podium, Roy Jansen was our team manager. I rode 125. Mike LaRocco rode 250. Billy Lyles 500. Epic battle. The last race was like both Billy and Mike had to ride their ass off for us to win it. And they play the national anthem, and you hoist the Chamberlain Trophy, and it being the first time, like, it was really, really memorable and just such a proud moment, you know. So, you know.
I bet too, because people would have no idea just how long it would have taken for you to get to Manjimup from California in 1992.
It's literally the other side of the world.
Like completely,
Yeah. Oh, yeah. And it felt that way too. You know, it was 1992. I remember going to Perth, and it just felt like everything was like 20 years behind. You know, I'm sure things have caught up some now, but everything just felt like it was so remote from every place else. And I do remember, during that time, we still had 2 more races left in the Pro Motocross Championship here in America.
Oh, really?
Where Mike LaRocco and I were like nose to nose trying to win the 125 title. And Mike and I didn't, you know, he's not a real talkative guy to begin with, especially then. And we had to do all this stuff together as a team. And I remember riding back in one of the vans. We were riding back from the track back to where we were staying. And Mike kind of like, he says, man, we really kicked their ass today. And I remember kind of being like, are you talking to me? You know, like kind of, wait, oh, hey, yeah, that was a good day for us, you know? Kind of it broke the ice a little bit, but then we didn't talk much, you know, because we were always really pretty intense rivals.
We're excited to announce the launch of our new membership site, gypsytales.com, packed with exclusive content and perks that you won't find anywhere else. This is your chance to become a part of the Gypsy Gang. And as a special bonus, if you sign up to an annual membership, you'll be entered into the draw to win our custom-built TC125. Gypsy Gang.